So today's vlog is a little bit different. We're here at the Museum of Flight in Seattle, Washington. I've never actually been to Seattle before. I've never been here, obviously. So I'm going to take you guys with me and see what this is all about. So in the entrance, we've got pretty much the beginning of flight with the very, very old aircrafts. But then we move straight into space. So it's not necessarily in any kind of order. But we're going to have a wander through the space area of the museum first. This looks pretty cool though. And of course, one of the first faces you see is Walt Disney. He makes his way everywhere. Now this is one of the Vostok spacesuits from 1960. So this suit obviously was meant to keep the astronauts safe in a depressurized containment, and then as shown here, upon re-entering Earth and landing, this would actually be ejected and a parachute would actually come out at the top here and they would just land in this thing. And if they were to land in water, the entire collar around here would inflate, and the orange suit obviously made it a little easier to be found in the middle of the ocean, which is really interesting. Can you imagine us being sat in one of these, being ejected out and just landing in the middle of the ocean? And after that first little section, we're entering the Apollo section, which looks a little dark inside of here, so kind of curious what's inside here. It looks quite good though. Wow, okay, so this right here, I don't know how well you can see this on the camera. That inside of that little piece of resin, plastic, whatever it's inside of, is actually a portion of the lunar sample returned by Apollo 12 astronauts traveled to the moon in November 1969. It's a tiny little rock, but it's a sample brought back by Apollo 12. So this is where the interesting part of the space area is. We have one of the rovers over there, and then we have some of the engines up here as well. Some of the pods, I'm not entirely sure on the name of those, but pods works as well. This is really cool, so I'm going to have a look around, and if I find some really cool things, I'll definitely show you. Hopefully you guys can see this well enough on the camera. This is actually a mission events booklet from Apollo 12, 1969, basically outlining the astronauts' scheduled activities during Apollo 12. So it's got everything from the liftoff on Friday the 14th, estimated 11:22 a.m., all the way through to the lunar orbit insertion at the bottom on Tuesday the 18th at 3:06 a.m. That's actually quite interesting to read through, to see what exactly they had to go through during the entire thing. And now this is just one of the engines, as you can see here, how many are actually on their actual rockets. But this is just one of them, just to show how big these things actually are. And when me stood next to it, you'll see they're quite big. So this is a cool little area. This is weight around the solar system, how it feels. So on Earth, obviously 5 pounds feels like 5 pounds. You have these little weights so you can actually feel what it will feel like to lift it in space. So on Earth, 5 pounds is 5 pounds. On the moon, 5 pounds feels like 0.83 pounds, which is very, very light. So that's how it would be to lift that on the moon. On Mars, 5 pounds feels like 1.9 pounds, so it's a little bit heavier. And on Jupiter, 5 pounds feels like 11.8, so that is a lot heavier. Wow. Now, I didn't expect this here, but I kind of like it. We're out of the space area now, into the actual aircraft plane zones, and you can see there's a lot of different varieties, from US Air Force to general commercial airlines to even UAVs. over there as well. So there's lots hanging here, there's lots to look at, and there's going to be a lot to read. But we're just heading upstairs now to see what's up here, and then we're going to make our way from the top to the bottom, and then walk all the way around the extra stuff that's like outside and things. So they have a tower in here as well for the air traffic controllers. This is kind of how it would kind of be laid out. Obviously there'd be a lot more equipment and things inside of here, but it's a pretty cool view. And here we have Amelia Earhart, and obviously airplane right behind as well. This is really cool because this is like that classic kind of plane that you see in movies and things that you just don't get really to see anywhere apart from places like this. So just to see this style plane in this condition up close is so cool. And in case you wanted the name of this one, there you go. That's the Lockheed Model 10E Electra, 1935. Wow. And then as we go on, they're getting even older. Here's like the 1-1 behind each other style planes. These are like the planes that you see people like walking on the wings, well, almost, because this doesn't have the wing underneath, but this is so cool. And then we just go further on down, 1933, the Stinson model over there. And we're just getting older and older and older. Look at that, what even is that? Never would I ever have thought that newspapers would have been delivered from the sky, but apparently they was back in, when was this, like 1924? They used to drop papers from the sky. Wow. Oh wow. The original United Airlines. The cockpit of the 80A. Huh. That's so cool. I would love to have like traveled in this because you can see inside. It's just like basic seats just strapped to the floor. I don't know, it probably is not safe at all. I mean, it obviously was, but I wouldn't feel safe in it. But I feel like it'd be a cool way to travel. It is cool to see. And apparently you can see the cockpit if you look in the, moving to your left or right and look at the reflection in the mirror. Moving to your left or right, you can change the viewing angle to your reflection of the passenger cabin in the cockpit. So I guess, oh yeah, kind of from here you can just see into the cockpit. Only just, like the doors seems to be closed a little bit. As you can zoom in, the scroll up. You can move around a little bit more. There you go. You can only just see in. And the weird things you get. We've even got a flying car in here. And now I haven't read the description yet. I don't know if this thing ever actually worked or took off. But like the wings fold up behind it. And it's a flying car.
The Taylor Aero car.
1968. Let me read through this to see if it ever actually worked. Yeah, a quick read through, and I believe it did because they actually made 6 variations of this. Museum's Aerocar 3 began as the 6th and final Aerocar 1 in the late 1960s. Here are the specs in case you're interested in that. 500-mile range, 140-mile-an-hour air cruise speed, 60 mile an hour on the road. Like, could you imagine if these things carried on and everyone had like a flying car nowadays? Obviously, I'd hope it'd look a little bit better than this, but
These are
You know, it is really cool to actually see these in person. It's things that you see online or in movies, but never actually get to see in person. So this is like a little bit surreal to see these in person. And just to see the size of them. This is the 1970 Bell UH-1H. Iroquois, is that? I don't know if I said that right, so let me know in the comments. But yeah, we've got a lot of the Army, Navy vehicles here. Which, this looks amazing. Wow. They have like a broken down jet engine right here. And how these things actually work, I will never know. It's just covered in pipes and things. It looks cool, but also confusing as hell. So obviously we walked the wrong way around this thing, because right back at the start or the end, whatever you want to call it, they have a reproduction of the Wright brothers plane here. So obviously it goes from this, then into some of the other things over here. Obviously everything's not exact order, but it's cool. And then they have like a seaplane style one right above us. So out of that area into the Red Barn. And as soon as you walk into the Red Barn, they have all of the tools that was used for Boeing. Got a table saw, planer, well, we've got just a 6 horsepower engine that's probably running the entire thing, a jointer, a big old bandsaw right there, and they're all connected to like the same system. So I would assume that they're all being ran all at the same time. And then over here we have a lathe as well. So I don't know if they have to stop the entire system, or maybe these levers here can bring the belt off to stop it. I don't know how that, I guess that would make sense if they had different levers for each thing. But this is like a really cool little bit, especially for me, because this is kind of the work that I do, working with all these machines. So seeing like the old school style things is really interesting. So there's all the workshop tools, because they would build planes like this out of wood. So here's like the whole frame of it. And that's basically without any coverings or anything. A little bit further down, they have like a little bit more modern one, but obviously they still use wood in it. By the looks of this, they have like wooden struts that run all the way up and down. So wood was a main aspect of the planes for quite a while, it seems. And obviously the propellers were made out of wood. This is just showing like how they were made. They had to be carved by hand, and also at the right angle, because if they wasn't at the right angle, the power wouldn't be there and they wouldn't take off. The same thing goes for the wing ribs as well. Just an example of the angle that is needed for lift. And then up on the wall there is all of the ribs in between the wing itself, keeping it at that same angle. So this is in the other end of the barn itself, and it's obviously telling the story of Boeing itself from, I don't know, from maybe start to finish, I don't really know. We have all different things, and the original Boeing people, William Boeing himself there. Obviously the Boeing story upstairs continues, 1916 to 1958. I'm going to take a walk around though, because there is also a little area that shows all of the, I don't want to say costumes, but all of the costumes, all of the outfits that air cabin crew have worn over the years. So we're going to take you in there in just a little while. But first, heading up the stairs to carry on the Boeing tour. It's really quiet up here, so I don't think there's many people up here, which is always nice. And they have like reproductions of the offices and things like that. And it seems there's also an audio tour, so if you want to grab the audio tour, it'll tell you more information about it than I ever could. It's the Chief Engineer's office from 1923. And here we have an example of the bullet-resistant plate glass that was on the back of the B-17 bombers, so that when they was getting shot from behind, this thing was the only thing protecting them. And we also have information on George Martin, who of course was well known as the fifth Beatle for producing all of the Beatles albums. And hold on, that's the wrong George Martin. And here we have information on George Martin, who obviously famously wrote Game of Thrones. Now, if you... Oh, hold on. Anyway, I'm not too sure I know this George Martin, but here's some information about him anyway. Well, that was embarrassing. Let's head back downstairs and take you into the costume section from all of the air cabin crew areas. I think that's the best way to describe it. I'll check the name and show you, but yeah. Just around the corner and downstairs. As you can see, they have little images of it, but here it is. It's called Runway to Runway. Styles and Stories of Flight Attendants, Fashion. Now, they really did go into the fashion back in the day, 1971. Can you imagine flight attendants wearing these kind of outfits on planes today, especially? Look at this one. Wow. That is something. Now, I feel like it's just so plain in common day to have the basic uniform in costume, or whatever you want to call them. But to have your flight attendants wear something like this, can you imagine walking down the aisle of a plane wearing one of these hats? How is that even possible? I know there was a lot more room back in the day, but there is some serious fashion. And I think of all of them, the Pan Am costume or uniform is the most well-known of them all. And I think another crazy thing about all of these is that designers, like famous designers like Valentino, you see right here, actually designed these things. So it wasn't just looking good for fun. They actually had real designers design these things. Now this one here is the first and probably only male attendant uniform that I've seen here. I would love to see this being brought back on the airplanes. Imagine your flight attendant comes dressed like this. You'd feel bougie as hell. Just headed out of the main building, across the sky bridge, over the road where they have all of their outdoor area section, with lots of obviously more planes and things to check out. Okay, so walking inside the building, we're headed back into space. They have this huge spaceship here, more jet engines and things, so this is really cool. Yee, NASA! See, things are always really interesting to me. This is the descent module, and this is the area that you get to see inside and how they'd sit in there as they was landing. That is so crazy, and it's always cool to see like the burn marks and everything on these things, and obviously the bottom where it would land. It's awesome to see. So although this is not real, you can actually go up inside it, and I'm curious to see if it's made to be like the actual shuttle inside, or if it's just like a bit more of a museum, looking more like a museum, but it's going to be cool. It has so much stuff here, including the toilets. this is what you have to sit in if you want to go 1, 2, or 3. So they have a gravity well here as well. Grab a ball and spin it. I don't know if I spun that hard enough or not, but it's kind of like those old coin things that you get, and you just put coins in and the coin rolls all the way down. Here we go, it's getting there. That's a pretty cool sight though. Alright, so we're going to head up into the shuttle now to see what's exactly in here. A lot of people just came all at once to go inside, but this is the payload bay. And yeah, it's pretty much how it would be, I believe anyway, if you were to go into the real one. Just, that's what they would take out of it. And it's just a big old empty space. Okay, so now we'll head outside into the aviation pavilion. So it's basically, it's like a graveyard of planes in here, but one of the things that caught my eye as soon as I walked out is there is a Concorde here. I've never seen a Concorde in person before, and I don't know if you can actually go in there. It looks like you can. Maybe you have to pay to go in there, but that is so cool to see in person. So yeah, you can actually go in there. It's only like half of the plane that you get to go through, but that's more than enough. But we're going to give it a second, let these children go through and have a quick walk around, take a look at the other planes that are out here. Okay, so they have a retired Air Force One over here as well that you can go through, so they're definitely going to go through that. This is how it'd be if you was president. I don't know when this was from, a long time ago. You walk straight into the toilet. And there's a lot going off in here. Is the cockpit any different? Okay.
Hello there, welcome.
Hi.
Hello again.
Hi.
Yeah, so are you in the air industry?
Yeah, some kind of. I'm from Germany.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll let you go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, it's okay. So it's like we have like a kitchen area. And then we get to the seating area. I mean, these don't look too amazing. There's a valet station now, so I don't know if we get a better seating further down. And this looks like where the president would be themselves. They get their own bathroom, of course, and it's a big bathroom. Wow, even in today's standards, it's a big bathroom. You get a giant sofa, chairs, and of course, president's phone. That's actually really cool. Okay, so this was President Johnson's plane.
So Kennedy and Johnson, 60s, yeah.
Yeah, it would be. It's presidential stateroom. Huh. Further down, next to it, we have another seating area. This is the presidential conference room. So obviously the president would sit in this chair, and the conference meeting would happen around this table. And then the tables for like dining, I guess, or just sitting, talking, and chilling out during the flight. Honestly, I wouldn't mind traveling in this right now. Not right now, but next time I fly. And then back here we have where the rest of the team would sit, I assume, which is kind of like a premium economy over this side, and then like economy plus over this side. Quite a bit of leg room though in these seats, which is nice. And then they have beds, fold down bunks at least. So if anyone needed to have a nap. They're all fold down?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they do. Yeah, so there's 4 bunks that they're able to get some sleep in. And then they have like a full kitchen with stove tops back here. I can't imagine that happening. No, I don't know actually. Would that happen?
This shows this aircraft's favorite flights. So this had Nixon, Kennedy, Eisenhower, Khrushchev, and Lyndon Johnson.
Wow. So I didn't travel too much. Wow. And right at the back, well, I'll say back, but this is only part way to the back. There's side-by-side toilets at the back end as well. That's actually pretty cool to see through. Actually, no, it is all the way back. It's the Concorde that you don't go all the way back on. So yeah, that is the full plane. Wow. That's actually really, really cool to see. I honestly did not expect to see any of that in here. So yeah, being able to see through Air Force One plane is pretty damn cool. So they have a 747 prototype in here as well. And we just came in. I wasn't going to film it, but it's completely gutted. So it's like really weird to see planes that I've flown in before with nothing basically in it. And I don't think you realize how big these things are until there's nothing here. Wow. It's pretty crazy. They also have a Dreamliner 787, which is a plane that I've flown on quite a few times in the past. Or at least I think I have. I don't know how many different models and variations there are of the Dreamliner, but I've definitely flown on a Dreamliner in the past. So you get to walk through this one as well. And obviously we're going to save the Concorde for the end, but here we go. So walking in, yeah, this is laid out pretty much the same as the Dreamliners that I've been on in the past. Well, half of the back end isn't there, and you actually get to go into first class on here, which I've never actually seen in a Dreamliner. So quite nice. Doesn't look a massive amount of room in them, at least, but the seats look quite nice. And the cockpit definitely looks a little bit more modern than the rest of them that we've seen so far, and a little bit more spacious as well. Can you go in the restrooms?
It's occupied, so the lights are red.
It is, you're correct. So here's some information. You want to pause and read through that. Alright, so now is the time. We're getting on board the Concorde. I really wish these things were still in service. We get across the country in no time.
And down goes the road.
Wow, this is like a really low door. Like, really, really low. Wow. did not expect it to be so tight in here. There's the cockpit, which is quite far back. Restrooms either side. Then I expect the seats to be quite nice, with it being a, you know, like a fancy service. 2-2. Look how small the windows are as well. Having such small windows to look out of. Can you believe that this thing can get you from London to New York in like, what is it, like an hour? Why is this not running still? Like, I really wish this was still a thing. We're going down. So this is pretty much it. This is what the bathrooms look like. And then the rest of the plane down here that's being blocked off. It's like that. It's quite a big plane. It is quite a big plane. Excuse me. And there we go. So we're gonna go halfway down the Concorde. That's the rest of the Concorde that I just showed you guys. That's cool. And then here is the rest of the planes that I didn't show you all of them. There's only a few of them that we went inside of and went to look at. But this is the rest of them. So there we go, the grand finale, the Concorde. We have walked around this thing in about 4 hours. We didn't stop to read every single thing, as you don't do in most museums or any places like that, but it's been really good. If you're in the area, definitely stop by. It's worth it. I've liked it a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm sure we're going to take a look at a few more things before we leave as well. But if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. Let me know. Hope you guys have enjoyed this, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.